Hello and welcome to my latest weekly property news from Madison's. Well, one of Labour's big promises or commitments was that they wanted to get more houses built. It's felt that we've got a growing shortage of properties, and last year only 200,000 new properties were built. And it was the lowest year in 10 years for planning permissions to be granted. So Labour really want to kind of shake up that system. They pledged that they would build 1.5 million houses during their 5 year, 10 year. So they've really got to up that rate. And one of the things they're looking to do is kind of revolutionise and change all the planning reforms. And Rachel Reeves is starting to talk about that more with her Chancellor's delivery, as is the Housing Minister. She's going to be speaking next week on economical growth, and this housing pledge is going to be a huge part of what she's going to be doing. Because, of course, when you build houses, you create wealth in terms of paying people to do something. And, of course, it drives people to their local community where hopefully they will spend money in their community. So one of the things she's going to be talking about with economic growth is that they want to streamline more planning applications around key commuter areas. They want to look at kind of those areas where people want to live for a variety of convenience reasons, and really the default answer being yes, you can do it, rather than no, you can't, which is probably how it feels at the moment. It's hoped then that new influx of people around those areas will have shops, and people will spend more time in their community while still appreciating the joy of having a nice commuter access. So of course, Tunbridge Wells, big commuter town, who knows what that could mean for us here. Of course, one site that is talked about quite a lot is the rugby pitches. So the rugby pitches at the moment are set up St Mark's Road. For a good few years now, they've felt to be not right for purpose. Parking is an absolute nightmare, and they get very, very boggy. So constantly trying to raise money to really have like an all-weather pitch, which would be very, very expensive. So Esquire have entered the mix. They would like to build 366 new houses. And I think 155 on the rugby pitch and 169 on the other side of the road. Where the rugby pitches, there'd be a cricket pitch as well, and an ecology garden. Yes, part of it, interestingly, that would fall into Kent, but on the other side of the road would be Sussex. And interestingly, Tunbridge Wells Borough Council have raised their concern over this scheme because of the strain that it will put on the infrastructure in terms of traffic. But it's actually Wealdon who will cast the deciding vote. So it falls within their kind of planning authority. So interesting. When it was launched, I mean, it got, I think, over 1,000 signatures on the petition for opposition very, very fast. It's beautiful countryside in that area. And of course, the rugby pitch would re-site about 1 kilometre down Front Road. This map that you're seeing now shows you how it would all sit. Sorry about the typo, Fant Road. I'm not quite sure who signed that off. This was Kent Online. Anyway, this is courtesy of them, this picture that you're seeing now. But it does summarise, I think, really well where the various pitches developments would go. So controversy, we're a commuter town. It's been looked at for a while, that area. So will it now happen? I must admit, it was one of those things that you always thought would be a massive outlier chance. And on that note, also segueing in nicely to the latest edition of the business, Atelier de Lind Architects partnering up with SJD, Stephen Donnelly Development. And there's a feature within there about how they are planning to make a more seamless system for both planning and sourcing of land. So certainly, opportunities to be made as Labour do try to make this process so much easier. Also, my feature in there, tucked away on page 56, if you're a first-time buyer and you buy a property before the end of March, you will save 6,750, I think, on stamp duty. So is that doable? Well, 8 weeks to go. Many of my lovely solicitor friends in the town would say, no, not now. But you could. I did a deal once, not to a first-time buyer, but to an all-cash buyer, and no one would show in 2 weeks. We got that one done. So you still absolutely can be quick. Just my tips there on what you'd have to make sure was in play to make sure you hit that stamp duty deadline, which is looming at the end of March. And you know, I love a good stamp duty story. Well, I caught a good one in my eye this week. A Russian financier ordered to pay an extra 555,000 in stamp duty. He bought a property that was felt it would have part commercial use. It was called the Old Bacon Factory. I don't think it had been a bacon factory for quite a while, but the previous owners had used it as a bit of a workspace, commercial space on the ground floor. So he paid a bill of 277,000. It should have been closer to 800. And HMRC filed against that. So he's got to pay that extra money. So there you go. Be careful with stamp duty. Just to end, a lovely property that we have launched in the St Peter's district of Tunbridge Wells. I love this part of town. It's really close to Dunorlan, close for getting out of Tunbridge Wells, and yet you are walking distance to the High Street, the Pantiles, the mainline station, beautiful green spaces, and great schooling in the area as well. And this is a really lovely end of terrace, 3-bedroom property, beautifully presented, absolutely exquisite. And it's got the real benefit of a basement, which has been fully tanked, converted, so a great home working space. So absolutely exquisite, offers in excess of £650,000. If that's of interest, do give us a call. I hope you have a great week. I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.